0 to 100 real quick.
This is 0 to 100
with Natasha and Serena.
Hey everybody, welcome to 0 to 100 with Natasha and Serena. What's up, Natasha?
Welcome. How's everyone doing?
I'm good.
Doing good? Okay, great.
Everyone out there is good too.
I hope so. And if not, majority of the people I know, we all say we're fine, even when we're not fine, right? That's how it goes, right?
So what are we doing today?
What? Did you not come prepared? Where are your notes? Where are your notes?
Acting like I've never done this before.
Right. Like, hello. Tap, tap, tap. Is this thing on? So listen, we are finally going to talk about stigmas. We talked about this, last year, the year before, during Mental Health Awareness Month, and here we are back again. So that's what we're talking about. But we got to kick it off with our 100 seconds of a check-in. So since you don't have your notes with you, Serena, go ahead and start with your your part of the 100 seconds and go.
All right. So I am taking my little 50 seconds to talk about a new show that I just started watching on Amazon Prime. It's called The Underground Railroad. People, if you have not seen this show, you have to see it. Natasha, watch the show.
Girl, this show's so old. I've been watching
Is it?
Shut
Girl,
up. This show is so old.
No.
Mercedes said the same thing. She's like, no, it's new. They keep releasing new episodes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, did they put out a new episode? Sorry,
there's only one season though. Okay, well, I think it's a new one though. Brad Pitt is the executive producer. I think it's new, but it's really good, and it shows. It's about a story about a girl named Cora, and it shows like her journey from like in slavery to freedom, and it's so good. I just think they show Black people in different in slavery, but in different aspects. It's not one dimensional. It shows the mental. It shows mental illness, which I was like, wow, I've never seen that tackled before. And that's all my time. But it's really good. Watch it. Amazon Prime, Underground Railroad.
Well, I stole some of your time anyway, so I have to look at it and see if it's the same show.
I don't think so, because there was one on cable network that I know. Right. It's not the same one. Okay, this one is really good. Big budget. Go watch it.
Okay. They need this show, Underground Railroad, or Brad Pitt needs to give us more of our time. I'm adding more time because I got a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Okay.
So pretty much the past week since the last time we were here, I've been so busy, but good busy. One of my good friends, Tamika Mallory from Until Freedom, one of the co-founders of Until Freedom and co-founders of the Women's March on Washington, her book just got released. So I've been enjoying her virtual book tour. It's awesome. If you go onto her Instagram page, you can find out all the info. But it's done through Smithsonian, which I thought was really, really cool. It was done really well.
Okay.
And there's like different locations, different panelists. It's really good. Okay. And then, and also she was here in Miami. Well, she's still here. So surprising to me, I got to like step away for a few days and have a little fun, which at first I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so stressed out because I'm going to have all this work to catch up on. But when you have moments like that, it's important that you recognize that you have to keep that balance. You have to work hard so that you can play harder, or at a minimum play as hard as you work. But I didn't realize I really, really needed that until Sunday, when I just was all the way turned up. All the way. Yeah, so I was glad to have that time. And the fun thing is that yesterday I had my second dose of my COVID vaccine.
Yay.
And I ain't like that thing.
Okay.
So I I didn't like it. The first one I felt lethargic and just kind of tired for maybe about a week after it. But this one, man, I had a fever, had the chills last night.
Oh, no.
But yeah, so I had it yesterday, felt effects last night and through this morning. My fever has broke. So I think that's probably the brunt of it, which, I mean, all things considered, I don't think that's, that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you weigh it against the benefits. So, yeah, that's that on that.
Yay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. So
200 seconds later.
It wasn't that long, but we did go over.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Because you love this show. Now
it's
I
so
need to
good.
Watch.
Go watch it. It's not the same one. I know the one you're talking about. It's not.
With Jerry Smollett.
No, it's not that one.
Okay, but I'm saying like, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That one's good too. I like wanted to petition for them to have another season, but
I know, why did it get
no one
canceled?
picked it up.
What the heck?
That girl was researching and everything, trying to stay on track because like, what do I need to do? I got $1. I can donate this money. Like, I mean, you know what? I got $10 on that, but I don't know. They just didn't pick it up. I think it was like a budget issue though. But anyways, back to Mental Health Awareness Month and back to stigmas. So a couple days ago, we posted on our, I think it was, well, actually both, on Facebook and Instagram, and I defined like what the basic like Webster definition of stigma is. But I kind of like how the Mayo Clinic put it. So the way they had it on their website is that stigma is when someone views you in a negative way because you have a distinguishing characteristic or personal trait that's thought to be or actually is a disadvantage. So in other words, it's a negative stereotype. So I like that because the stigma is that's not mine. I don't own that. Like, y'all putting that on me because you think something negatively, and it might be a disadvantage or it might just seem like one, but either way, like, it's a negative stereotype. So negative equals not good. Unfortunately, negative attitudes and beliefs towards people who have a mental health condition are common, and it's unacceptable. So here we are, like Glen Close said, and I quoted her last week, giving mental health what it needs. We're giving it more sunlight, more candor, and more unashamed conversation.
Right. And I found that, it's really a vicious cycle of stigmas. So we have those negative perceptions of mental illness, which create fear and discrimination, or fear of discrimination, which leads people who are dealing with mental illness to avoid help and resources because they're afraid that if they do seek it out, that they're going to be discriminated against, which then just leads to untreated mental illness, which then leads to unhealthy behavior, which perpetuates more stigmas. So I found in some of my research that 1 out of 5 adults in America are living with mental illness. I think you mentioned this on our last episode. And despite the prevalence of depression and anxiety disorders, the stigma of mental illness can prevent people from reaching out and getting the help that they need, even from, their friends and their family. And approximately 60% of adults with mental illness don't receive any mental health services. So that's why, like you said, it's important, like you and Glen Close said, it's important to give it more sunlight, more candor, more unashamed conversation, because we want to stop that vicious cycle. We want to stop it in its tracks and help people to get rid of these unhealthy, negative stigmas so that people can get the help that they need.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've been receiving the feedback too, but a lot of people are really appreciative of, us having this conversation and shining light on this and, putting
Definitely.
it out there. So that's good because, I mean, we don't have a million followers. We don't have a huge platform, but we recognize this is something that's important.
Right.
And, we streamlined it so that we can make it happen and stick with it because we're both really busy. But this is important to us. And, not just this topic, but other things that we talk about on our podcast. But mental health, we've seen it play out through family members, friends, just even strangers. You just see how it is, and it makes us sad.
Exactly. That
people, have to deal with these stigmas. So as with other stigmas, we know about other ones, right? Some may be completely oblivious of stigmas. Like either they just haven't been made aware, or they personally have such a healthy outlook and awareness of mental health and people dealing with theirs that they just cannot comprehend such negativity. So, I felt like I'm confusing myself, but basically, I've talked to people before and they're like, no way. Like, it's totally fine. If you have like a mental, condition, or you have whatever another negative stigma is associated with, they're like, no way. Like, of course, like no one's gonna, shame you for that. Like you have to take care of yourself. But, so I think a lot of it is I call that healthy ignorance, because I love when I'm just like oblivious to something. Like before, I believed that haters were real, and I was like, nah, no way. Why would someone just hate on you and they don't even know who you are? Like that's silly. And then I found out, no, they live and they breathe. Like they are here. So, but unfortunately, the people who have to deal with the stigmas, they're very well aware of them.
Yeah, of course. And I just wanted to point out some common stigmas that that even myself personally, like before I was educated, I'm still being educated on mental health and mental illnesses. But, you know, you look at people and you think, first of all, they're crazy or they're unstable. You don't know what they're going to do. You may think that they're going to be violent, that you can't trust them, or that they can't be, you know, operate in a public setting, or that they might not just be able to live a normal life, that they have to live in some sort of institution, or they need some sort of assistance their whole life. They won't be able to hold down a regular job. Those are some of the negative stigmas that I think for so long have really clouded and stopped people from getting the help that they need, because they don't want to be looked at as any of those things. And so hopefully with this small conversation and conversations that continue to happen around the world, that we're able to stop that. And I think we're seeing it get a little bit better. Of course, those things are starting to fade, but they're still out there. People are still hesitant to employ people with mental illnesses if they disclose it right up front, or they're hesitant to you know, maybe get in a relationship with them, or whatever it may be, to rent to them. And so it's important that we're able to attack these stigmas and educate.
True. All right. So, I mean, what does this look like? What harmful effects can a stigma have? So I'm just gonna run through a little quick list. I mean, like you said, this is a mighty conversation, but it's still small in comparison to how big of a topic this is, you know? So for one, stigmas can cause reluctance to seek help or treatment. I think that's the first, most crucial and most obvious one. Oftentimes as a result of the lack of understanding from family and friends. So, I mean, that will negatively interfere sometimes with those, you know, otherwise close connections that you would have with them. Stigmas often lead to bullying, physical violence, or harassment. They lead to the belief that you'll never succeed at certain challenges, or that you can't improve your situation. And stigmas can even result in fewer opportunities for work, school, or social activities, or trouble finding housing. So, I mean, that just, you know, again, small list compared to all the effects that stigmas really can have on someone who's dealing with it. But it's, you know, the effect can be internal and immediate just with that person, how it affects them personally. But then beyond that, I mean, it goes, like, it can literally affect their entire future.
Yeah.
Opportunities, work, school, you know, like that's huge for a person.
And like you said, you may think, like, from outside looking in, that these things don't exist, or they may not be as big as a big deal, but it's not till you're like confronted with it yourself. Maybe it's something you're dealing with, or someone in your family or your friends, and they're starting to say, okay, yeah, I'm starting to experience some of these things, or I feel this, where I feel like I'm being discriminated against, that you start to see how it is a big deal. It is an issue. It can be debilitating to a person going through it.
It can.
Well, we have to at least acknowledge the growth, right? So we've come a long way. Like I said, when I talked about some of those stigmas earlier, that we are making a lot of progress. I mentioned before in an earlier episode that the millennial generation is looked at as the therapy generation as well. That's like our nickname, which is great. I mean, it kind of sounds like a lot of people kind of knock millennials for being too soft and in their feelings, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing that we are now trying to acknowledge those things and move forward. So I saw a study done by American University, and they said, I thought it was interesting. They said 60% of millennials that they surveyed said that they would date someone with a mental illness, while less than half would be willing to admit it to their friends. So they'd be willing to do so, but they would not be willing to admit to their friends that their significant other is struggling with some sort of mental illness, which was interesting to me. So again, there's still some of those negative stigmas that are hindering people from being open and honest. More than 70% of millennials in this survey said they would be comfortable visiting a counselor or a therapist, hence why we're named the therapy generation. And then more than 50% of respondents said that they would vote for someone with a mental illness, which I thought that number was quite high and a little bit of a shock, because I know when it comes to voting patterns, there have been a lot of things that have stopped us from voting for people in the past. I know recently we've been voting younger people into office, and I know it was a big deal when John F. Kennedy was voted because he was a Catholic. And so there are some unwritten rules when we're voting for people, but it was interesting that people said that mental illness 50% of millennials said that it would not hinder them from voting for someone who admittedly said that they had a mental illness. And most significantly, about 75% of millennials say that they're open to discussing mental health topics. And I think it's important that we continue this progress. I know probably 20, even maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago, we were nowhere close to this. And so I wanted to know, why are we now in a better place, and how we can continue to get into a better place when it comes to discussing these mental health issues, topics, and illnesses. So we, of course, millennials and Gen Zers have grown up in a world where it's normal and it's considered natural to get treatment for psychological problems. So we are normalizing mental health treatment. We're making it seem like, okay, it is okay, and it's not. There aren't stigmas associated with it. So we're going into that. We're going in the right direction. Also, social media. Social media can have a lot of a negative impact on all of us, but there are some really good benefits to social media, which is helping to destigmatize mental health. So the conversations that are happening on social media, and the fact that millennials and Gen Zers are feeling more connected to other people. They feel support through connections that they're making online. So that's helping. Also, the call out culture. I know that's another thing that people are kind of like teetering about when it comes to calling out people, but we're seeing a lot more of that. And that's also, we're calling out behavior that is unacceptable and discriminatory, which helps people to feel more comfortable in getting the help and the resources that they need.
That's so true. Because, I mean, a lot of mental health, like, your mental health is affected negatively a lot on social media because of trolls and, things like that, and the cyberbullying, because, when we were in school, it kind of stopped at school. If someone's messing with you, it's like, at least you can go home and have a break. But now, it doesn't stop. But that's so true, because people will call someone out, like, hey, don't talk about them. They have this, and da-da-da-da.
Exactly.
And that's a good point. And, there is, I think a lot of the millennials, they definitely, they've seen things, and they're able to, normalize things more than we would, and more than our parents and our grandparents would have ever been able to, because of social media and the internet. So there's definitely, dual benefits to social media, not just negative, But I don't know why you were surprised that more than 50% of the respondents, they said they would vote for someone with a mental illness. I mean, how many votes do you think Donald Trump got? You can bleep that out if I can't say it. You can bleep it out. But anyway, so we want to provide solutions as much as we can, but, also with the understanding that things such as, how to cope with stigmas is going to look different for each person. But I'm just jump right into it. So start right off with what I think is, the biggest stigma, which is getting treatment. I mean, getting treatment, you literally lose nothing by talking to someone that may be able to help you sort through even the most basic things like stress and anxiety. That's the simplest way to put it, right? So I just want to encourage everyone, anyone listening, anyone that you can pass this along. Just don't let the fear of being labeled with a mental illness prevent you from seeking help. I've heard that hold on, sorry. Lost my train of thought. I realized that's my email popping up.
See, we were
man,
very busy, y'all.
That's the ADHD too. Like I shouldn't have looked, but I took a peek at it. So, anyways, so again, I've heard people say that like, well, I don't want them to put a label on me because they diagnose everybody with something. Well, I mean, come sit with me for 10 minutes. I can diagnose you with something too. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like, so what? Especially at this point, like, so what if they do? Y'all really have to get away from the ridiculous concept that you just keep going, you keep working, making other people wealthier while you literally struggle or barely get by until you burn out or worse. So spending your life being a miserable butthole, I was gonna say a different word, to others, like I mean, I'm sorry to be like that, but that frustrates me too. So it's not just about, well, I don't want to seek treatment because of this, and a lot of it is how we were raised and those stigmas being passed down from generation to generation into us. But like, that doesn't give you the right to not deal with your ish and be a jerk to other people. Pisses me off. All right, so you got to do the best you can with the knowledge that you have at the time. Okay, so you may not have known this yesterday, but now you're listening and you know some things. So do better, okay? You can't ignore something as important as your health. And honestly, at this point, like, you have enough to at least seek out necessary information as to why mental health is so crucial. And if you aren't finding ways to take care of yourself, it's legit irresponsibility at this point. Like, you're being irresponsible. Treatment can literally mean just talking to a therapist. They are professionals and they are trained to help you, to treat you. The same way a cardiologist is professionally trained to treat your heart and a masseuse professionally trained to massage your body. So hire professionals to help you treat you. They will help you battle the stigmas, whether they're internally or from your family, friends, or strangers. So whether it's inside or outside, they will help you. We don't have all the answers, but that's why they are trained to do their job. We are trained to do our job. So you got to use the people who are trained to do what they need to do to help you. So, and for those that are brave enough to explore or have explored their own mental health and want to improve and achieve personal growth, that same treatment with the therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, counselor, it can absolutely provide the relief that you need. They'll help you identify what is wrong and help reduce the symptoms that interfere with things like work and your personal life. Anything else, the more you indulge, the more comfortable you will feel. So just try it once, then try it twice, and then try it 3 times before you know you're at a dinner table talking about something. Yeah, I have 2 therapists. If I'm having this issue, I'll talk about this. If I'm having that issue, I go and talk to this therapist about whatever. Okay, so that's that on that.
Yeah. And just to kind of like piggyback right on that is that don't let stigmas create self-doubt and shame. It starts with you. Everything that you just said, it starts with you. Like, it starts with you looking within yourself and saying, okay, I am going to go get help. I am going to trust the professionals. I am going to not sit on this and not be proactive. But I'm going to do what I need to do in order to be better, to get better. And so don't let self-doubt and shame stop you from doing that. We know stigmas and negative thoughts in general about anything don't always come from others. They come sometimes from ourselves. Sometimes we are our biggest, our worst enemy, and it starts in the mind. And so you have to really just say to yourself, no, this doesn't make me weak. This isn't a personal weakness. I'm not going to look at it as something like that. I'm not going to let these personal stigmas that I have on myself stop me. And so you have to be strong. And I know that's easier said than done, but be able to control these stigmas and seek help. So seek counseling, educate yourself about your condition, connect with others, and do everything that you can to be proactive in order to gain that confidence and that self-esteem that you need in order to overcome those stigmas that you have within yourself.
And it's not just for someone who has a quote unquote condition, because I mean, when you go to the gym and you see the other 100 people that are in the gym, they're not all there trying to strengthen up their shoulder or some other part because they injured it. Everyone's not trying to fix something. This is an opportunity for you to maintain your health, your overall health, which doesn't just stop at your physical. You have to make sure your brain is healthy. That's literally the captain of everything you have going on. Yeah. Like, I always say that I hate getting headaches because I feel like that's the part of your body that should never hurt. Like, you're controlling everything. Like, how am I supposed to even walk with a headache? So I don't like it. But I mean, it's no secret. Like, I have ADHD. That's not a secret. And I know that if I really sat down and was diagnosed, I probably have anxiety too, but it's definitely functional anxiety. So even though it's not a condition where I need to seek treatment for that, okay, fine, but I still need to see a therapist. I still need to talk to someone so that I can maintain my physical health. The same way as if I can't get my eating together, maybe I need to go see a dietitian. Maybe I need to go see an allergist because maybe I'm eating things that I'm not supposed to eat. But I would never do that. So I don't know why I said that.
None of us would ever do that.
Okay. That means that you do it too. Okay, because I mean, misery loves company. But like you get what I'm saying? And I think that's what a lot of people, like, oh, I'm fine. And I, recognize that when, I was reaching out to a couple people for the stories that we're going to read for next week. And some people are like, oh, well, I wasn't really dealing with anything. And I was like, oh, like, we're all quote unquote dealing with something. So part of, one person's story compared to another person's story is how they're able to deal with just day-to-day whatever, and then the other person is affected by it maybe because they do have some condition or mental illness that is preventing them from just being able, like, all right, here's the problem, I'm gonna find my solution. But it's all maintaining your health or getting healthy or preventative, proactive, whatever, but you're all dealing with mental health in some kind of way. So that's one way of looking at it. And just, you cope with the stigmas because you need to get the help for yourself, or you cope with the stigmas because someone close to you needs help, and you don't need to be talking ish and filling their mind with, you just need a good whooping and you'll be fine. No. But then another part of it too is combating the stigmas. Right. So the way we can easily cope with it, maybe not easily, but the way we cope with it may be specific to what we personally have going on and how I'm going to cope with what I have going on so that I can build, like you said, the confidence and do what I need to do to seek treatment. But combating them can be, me warding you, like what you're saying, off and fighting, against you being in my presence right now because I want to combat for me, but it goes beyond just us too, right? So when talking about how combating stigmas work for us, the first thing I think that people need to focus on is not isolating themselves. And I'm guilty of this, so listen, it's not the pot calling the kettle. Like, it's literally coming from a place of love and a place of understanding. But if you're dealing with a mental illness, or you just aren't feeling 100% mentally, you're just not, it's like one of them days, you may be reluctant to tell anyone about it, especially if you were raised to think that it's something that you're just not allowed to even assess. Like, we don't talk about that. Just go in there, do some dishes. What distract yourself. Go. People got issues. But your family, your friends, your church family, and members of your community support system, they can offer you support. Like, I promise you. And this goes back to what I've said before about the life sponsors. You gotta know who you can and cannot talk to. That's the bulk of it. Just know, like, okay, in this type of situation, I can talk to these people. That's building your life sponsors team. But you have to know about your mental state to help with that assessment. So I would just suggest, instead of isolating yourself, just reach out to people that you trust for the compassion, support, and understanding that you need. And sometimes, me, again, coming from a place of understanding, because this is what I do, it takes a lot for me to break down and let the stress, like, my cup could be pouring over and I'll just be standing there, like a wet animal, and just being like, I don't know where the water's coming from, but I just got to keep going. Like, I got this client is depending on me for this, and, this family member is depending on me for that. But I will go and do fun stuff. And I'll think that, like, oh, well, if I just do fun things, but sometimes me being around you while I'm having like not a good day and we intend to do something fun and you just happen to ask the right question and now it done turned into a whole therapy session. So sometimes I may not be as good as at picking up the phone and saying, hey, can you handle this right now? I really need to talk to you about something going on. Even though I know you and my other friends would be like, of course, girl. But just putting yourself out there with your friends, the people that you trust that are supportive of you, that's a first step, and that's good enough sometimes. You don't have to think like, I can't isolate myself and I gotta pick up the phone, tell this girl all my business. No, just don't be alone. And whatever that looks like for you, whatever. Just don't feel like, that's the response to it when you're not feeling 100 or you're dealing with a mental illness. Do not isolate yourself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't emphasize enough how important a support system is. I'm currently, going through something with my son, and I was feeling isolated. I was feeling alone because I felt like I don't know anybody else who's going through this. Nobody that in my family is going through this. They won't understand. And I was able to find other moms and parents who were going through the same thing. And it, like, when I talked to the first person who had gone through the same thing, literally, I felt like I had just taken a breath. Like, it felt so good. And I didn't realize how important that it was. And so don't underestimate how important it is to have that support system in place, to talk to people, to let it all hang out with someone, again, pick and choose those people wisely. But once you do, be open and candid with them, because it will benefit you in ways that you don't even know. So definitely do that. Also, it's important that you don't equate yourself with your mental state or condition. So,
Wait. Before that, I just have to give you your props for that, because I know in there I said strangers, but that's tough, bro. Mm-hmm, that is. Literally is like, they always talk about like, oh, just find a support group. Wait, because I won't know those people. Like right. That, like, woo. But this is what they mean when they say that. Mm-hmm. Because you wanted someone that could relate to what you were going through, what you were dealing with. That's what you needed. So you were aware enough and honest enough with yourself to recognize that, like, yeah, I have a great support. You do. You have a great support system around you. I'm a member of the team, so,
Exactly.
But you recognize that I need something a little different that my normal support system cannot provide to me.
Right.
So you sought out, and that's brave, bro. Like, I'm proud of you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt you though.
No, thank you. It feels good. It definitely wasn't easy, but I knew I was just like, I was feeling a certain way, and I felt like I need someone who can relate. I need someone who can tell me like what it looks like on the other side, and so it's so important to seek those people out. If it's, make a small step, send a Instagram message to somebody if you see that they may be going through the same thing, if you're shy or whatever it is. And once I opened that door, then that person was like, and I'll connect you here to this person and to this resource, and it just opened up a whole door that I didn't even know existed. And so definitely I cannot tell you and encourage the listeners out there enough. Don't be afraid. Do it. Just like, do what you need to get the help that you can. And I can't say that I would have been that brave if it was me personally going through something. But then as a mom, I was just like, I don't care. I don't care how I look. I'm going to do whatever I can for my son, So, but yeah, don't be afraid to do that.
Or if you are afraid, just work through the fear.
Right.
Because, exactly. I'm sure you were a little afraid, but you were just like, I don't care about being afraid. I ain't got time for this. My child needs me. So.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I just want to say also, don't equate yourself with your mental state. Don't, it's not who you are. You're, whoever you are, you were made who you are for a reason. You have a purpose, you have a plan for your life. And so something that you may be battling or struggling with, that's not who you are. It's something that you're going through. And so don't equate yourself with that. So, and it can start with something as simple as how you even verbalize it. So instead of saying, for example, I am bipolar, you can say, I have bipolar. It's something that you're going through, you're addressing. You are not bipolar. It's not you. It's something that you have and that you're dealing with. And so being being proactive in those little ways can also help destigmatize these mental health illnesses.
That's a good point. And I'm even going to take that on too, because, you know, you have that crazy ex-boyfriend that you know his behind is, but, you know, I am guilty. I'll be like, oh, he bipolar. Like, you know, his bipolar A. You know what I'm saying?
He has bipolar.
Yeah. Well, anyways, but it's even little simple stuff like if you're, let's fast forward 5 years, if Christian came to you and told like a white lie, you wouldn't be like, you liar.
Yeah.
So we need to treat ourselves like, you know, like the child within, pretty much.
That's true.
And that's a great book, by the way. That's an impromptu book recommendation, which I was thinking we need to do like a recap kind of episode at the end. Like, I know we already have a couple shows already lined up for this month, but like at the end, and I want to make some book recommendations. Oh wow, the book is right here randomly, Healing the Child Within by Charles L. Whitfield.
Was meant to be.
MD. Wow, that's crazy. So it's a great, you know, book. I'm not even through with it, but I'm looking at my tab. I'm about a third of the way there, and it was recommended to me by one of my therapists. So there you go. All right. So we here at 0 to 100 with Natasha and Serena, we strive to continue utilizing our platform to speak out against stigmas. And that's why all month we've been focusing exclusively on mental health awareness. Again, you know, we don't intend to just close the subject off. You know, May 31st and we're done. No more talk about mental health. But, you know, we wanted to focus entirely on it this month, because I think that's what, when you have whatever awareness month, or, you know, like whatever that time that's set aside for you to talk about something, to celebrate something, like let's take advantage of that. And I'm sure that, you know, more people will have conversations in June and July and the rest of the year because of Mental Health Awareness Month in the month of May. So, we're going to keep doing that thing.
Yes. And of course, one of the best ways to break stigmas is to speak up and speak out. So we're encouraging you to speak out against stigma. Consider expressing your opinions at events, on social platforms, or by sharing your story with us here at 0 to 100. So sharing your story can literally save a life. We said it, and if we said it once, we said it 1,000 times, that it can save a life. It can help instill courage in others facing similar challenges, and it can help educate people who aren't going through it, or don't have knowledge about it, and so we want to continue to do that here at 0 to 100.
Yeah, and we're no different either, Serena. So that's why in our next episode, we
Lord.
will share our own personal stories, but specifically related to mental health during the quarantine.
Right.
So that was my first quarantine. I don't know if other people have been through it before, but I actually don't know what I'm going to say, because I was thinking about that the other day, and I was like, do I have anything to talk about? Like, did I go through stuff during quarantine? But we're gonna explore it, and I'm gonna discuss what my mental health looked like during the quarantine, and we will also be sharing some of your stories as well. So a few people have sent them in, and we want a few more. So we are, first, just to finish that thought, you can take a moment, and literally it doesn't have to be a page. Like, we don't have time to read a whole page anyway. We're trying to keep these short and sweet, but just DM us or email us, like an excerpt or some of your experience with regard to your mental health journey during quarantine, and then we're just going to read it on the show. And just make sure you tell us whether or not you want us to share your name and or maybe like your social media handle, or if you want to remain anonymous. But again, share a story, save a life.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, it's 0 to 100 podcast on Facebook and Instagram, and it's 0 to 100 podcast at gmail.com.
Right. I'm excited to
Me too.
Read these stories. The two that we got so far, I was like, I'm not gonna read these until it's gonna be just like a blind read.
Oh, okay.
When we read it. So hopefully we get a few more to read. If you want to share something with us about, like a personal experience or just whatever, and you don't want us to read it, you can tell us that too. Like, first of all, I'm a whole lawyer, so I respect people's privacy, and we just appreciate the feedback. So you tell us to what extent we can share, if at all. But I mean, that's pretty much it, Serena. I guess until next time.
Until next time. Bye, guys.